Hello everyone, what am I going to talk about today is orchestra. To begin with, I'm going to cover some important elements of orchestra and then I will compare two different kinds of orchestras. Basically, we are going to focus on these five elements: basic concept and instrumentation of orchestra, original meaning of the term, and history and seating, and finally compare chamber orchestra and philharmonic orchestra. Orchestra is a large instrumental ensemble that includes string, woodwind, brass, and percussion. In string section, there are violin, viola, cello, and bass. And flute and clarinet are in woodwind section. Brass is trumpet, trombone, and horn. And finally, percussion includes drum and timpani. These four instrumental groups are the typical orchestra's instrumentation. The term orchestra derives from the Greek, the name for the area in front of an ancient Greek stage for reserved for the Greek chorus. The orchestra developed throughout 18th and 19th centuries, but changed a little in composition during the 20th century. Orchestras were first made up of small groups of musicians that gathered for festivals or holidays. Modern orchestras started in the late 16th centuries when composers begins to writing music for instrumental groups. In the early 17th century, music was increasingly written for groups of players in combination, which is the origin of the orchestral playing. The next thing that I will cover is seating of orchestra. Each instrumental section has a principal who is responsible for leading the section. The principal first violin is called the concertmaster, who not only leads the string sections but also the entire orchestra. The concertmaster usually sits to the conductor's left, closest to the audience. In most orchestras, the concertmaster usually comes on stage after the rest of the orchestra is seated, shakes hands with the conductor, and takes a bow, and finally they receives applause. The string section is the largest body of the orchestra, which consists of 5 parts. The violins are divided into 2 groups, first violin and second violin, with the second violins playing the lower registers than the first violin. And the rest of the instrumental sections, such as woodwind, brass, and percussions, are placed at the middle and at the end of the orchestra. This picture is the original seating of the orchestra. You can see it's first violin, second violins, violas, cellos, and basses. These are all string sections, and this is woodwind and brass section, and percussion, even piano. Sometimes there is a piano part in orchestral music, but sometimes it's not. It really depends on the music that they play. Okay, we just covered some basic and general concepts of orchestra. So let's move on to the next part. As I mentioned it at the beginning, I will compare two different kinds of orchestras, which is chamber and philharmonic orchestra. Before we go on to chamber orchestra, what is chamber music?
The music played in chamber?
Yes. But more specifically, chamber music is a form of classical music that is composed for a small group of instruments. So the chamber orchestra is a small-sized orchestra that has about 15 musicians, or some are much smaller than that. In chamber orchestra, they usually doesn't have brass sections like tuba and trombones, but instead the strings are the main section of the orchestra in chamber orchestra. Because of their limited instrumentation, they usually don't play pieces for large works. They usually play like small symphonies like Mozart, not like Beethoven. Okay. This is a typical chamber orchestra. You can see there are not many people in the orchestra. Okay, so let's move on to the Philharmonic. Compared to the chamber orchestra, Philharmonic orchestra or symphony orchestra is a full-sized orchestra that has about 100 musicians. Of course, they have full instrumentation, like they have string, woodwinds, brass, and percussion, even pianos. For their repertoire, they can play both large and small works because of their large instrumentation, and they usually play large symphony works like Beethoven symphonies. Actually, this picture is Penn State School of Music's Philharmonic Orchestra. In this picture, you can see many people compared to the other orchestra. Lastly, this summary will help you to understand major differences between two orchestras. Small size, limited instrumentation, and strings are the main section, and they play small works. And Philharmonic Orchestra, they are full-sized, and they have all the instrumentations, and they play large works. We will finish our class by listening actual two performances based on what we talked today. Actually, the first one is Mozart Symphony. It's played by chamber orchestra. You can listen. Mostly string parts, violin. This one is, you can obviously listen the differences. It's from Philharmonic Orchestra. Can you has very large instrumentations. For sound quality, can you imagine between these two videos? Okay, let's see. Do you have any question? Okay, thank you.